Hi, welcome back to Stalking the Wild Autoharp. I'm Hal Weeks, and this week I'm going to be continuing to teach about thumb lead. Last week I taught you two different techniques for playing lead with your thumb, and I won't rehash those here. I'll just send you back to check those out if you didn't see that video already. This week I'm going to teach you how to play lead with the thumb where you go back and forth with your thumb pick only, like it was a flat pick. And this is a relatively new technique for me. I've been playing for 30 years, and I originally tried this 25 years ago. And it was a little bit tough to pick up. That was in the days before YouTube and before I could see anybody else do it. And so I've just recently learned how to do it. You remember how I talked about getting stuck? Some people get stuck after they learned how to play chords, and they don't get on to playing melody for a while. Other people learn how to play melody with their fingers, and they don't learn how to play with their thumb, and they get stuck. And then they just kind of don't get around to it and don't get around to it. Well, I didn't get around to playing this kind of thumb lead. I was always playing the back and forth kind of thumb lead like I taught last week, which works great. But this is a really cool new thumb lead that I've just learned, so I wanted to share the tricks that I figured out and let you know I've only been doing this for about 5 or 6 weeks now. So it is possible to pick this up pretty quick. It doesn't matter what kind of thumb pick you use. Right now I'm wearing a Dunlop, and these work really well. It's a nice stiff one. It's not a thin floppy one, although those can work too, but I don't really like the tone of the thin picks. Let me show you what I do. First of all, here's a little demonstration. Let me get it right first. Like I said, I'm sort of new at this. Back and forth with the thumb pick. So right now I'm going to move my camera down, and I'm going to move in towards it so that you can see a little bit better. So there's a few tricks. First of all, the thumb pick is going both directions, and if you come backwards with the thumb pick and it's not secured in any way, it's a lot easier for it to get twisted on your thumb, which is the feeling that it's going to fly off, and sometimes it can fly off. So what you do is you hold it with your knuckle, and I'm holding it actually between, I'm holding it with this part of my finger, all right? Between this knuckle and this knuckle is where the grip goes, okay? And then it comes down on the string, not perpendicular to the string, so that it's coming straight across the string, but it's twisted. You twist it at an angle. It's kind of like turning a key in a lock, about a quarter of a turn, so 45 degrees. It depends on your pick, though. So you turn it so that it slides easily back and forth across the strings, and by turning it, it keeps it from dropping down too far in between the strings. You see, it actually pushes it out so that you're just doing it with the pick itself. And of course, being able to play melody with the thumb, you have to be able to do that first before you can do this going both directions with it, because it involves coordination with the left hand too. Now, there's two different motions that I've discovered that work. Two different motions that work for picking back and forth with the thumb. One is a rotation. You call it a wrist rotation, but it's really not your wrist that rotates. Your wrist by itself can't turn at all. It's these two bones that rotate around each other, and the rotation comes from your elbow. Okay? So it's a full wrist rotation. Like that. And that's the loudest. The other kind of motion that you can do is a scrubbing motion that's more like grating cheese with an old school grater. And this is where you get the emulations of mandolin and flat picking guitar. Now, I need to speak about other thumb picks. Other thumb picks work just as well. This is a Dunlop Heavy. Here's a pick. This is a Fred Kelly slick pick. And I like these a lot too. This is Delrin, and it's a lot quieter, or not a lot quieter, but and it has sort of a slick feel to it that helps it slide, which must be why he named it the slick pick. It has a slightly softer tone because it's a slightly softer plastic, and you will find that it wears a little bit as you do this, scrubbing back and forth. The Dunlop doesn't seem to do that quite as much, but depending on your taste. There's also picks that you can get that are more like a guitar flat pick. I've got one of those here. This is a Fred Kelly. This is called a Bumblebee. And as you can see, it's actually shaped like a flat pick, and it slides in and out, so it can be longer or shorter. And these are, in my opinion, I don't like them because they're a little bit too thin, and they sound like, remember when you put a playing card in your bicycle spokes? So it would go flappity, 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 flappity when you rode, and it sounded a little bit like a motorcycle, at least to a kid. That's what I think these sound like, but you might like them, so it might be worth a try. In any case, it's just a matter of finding the place to twist it to. And as you learn to do this, you're going to have to focus a lot on the twisting to get it to just the right place so it's still loud. You twist it too far and you lose all your volume. And you don't twist it enough. It's super loud, but it's also super hard to go back and forth without getting it snagged on the strings. And speaking of snagging on the strings, I need to talk about your finger pick. For me, it's the first finger, the one that's actually doing the gripping of the pick. There's potential hooking that can happen on the back of the pick as you go down or up across the back. And so I put a piece of tape across the back of the pick. And I only have to do it on my first one, on my first finger, because this one is up out of the way and it doesn't seem to snag. But coming back and forth, sometimes my pick, especially when I was learning to do this, would snag like a hook on one of the strings, and I would pull it off and it would be jangling around on my string. So by taping that, I close off that gap. If you use metal picks that have a metal wrap, depending on the make of the pick and the size of your finger, they might overlap a little bit in the back. And if that's so, you need to figure out, if you're having a snagging problem, you need to figure out which side of the pick and which direction you're going when it catches and snags. Are you going down, across, or are you coming back up? And then use the opposite one to go over the top, so that you don't have a hook there to grab the strings. Just a little way to fine-tune your finger picks so that they don't snag the strings. This is a medical tape. I get it at the pharmacy in my grocery store. It's stretchy. It's the color of silly putty. And I just use one strip of it, and it goes over there, so it stretches as I need to push it down over my finger. And I've used one piece, and it's been on there for months now. So let's see, is that everything that I need to cover about this? Yeah, I think it is. When you practice this technique, give yourself a little patience. It took me several weeks to really start flowing with it. It didn't feel natural to me at all at first, and now it's getting really smooth, and I'm really glad that I picked it up. And it just goes to show that even after 30 years, you can still be learning new stuff and new techniques to expand your Autoharp playing into new territories. And I love it because while it's a fairly simple instrument to get started on, you can go deeper and deeper and deeper and find new and better ways of playing to create new sounds that you never thought possible before. So there you go. That is the third kind of flat picking that you can do, or thumb picking that you can do to play melody with your thumb. So I want to thank you for watching. I'm Hal Weeks. Go over to my website, halweeks.com. There's a link there for my Autoharp album, which is called Autoharp Revealed in Cloud. And you can also find out there about private lessons online. I teach through video chat, through Skype or through Facebook video messaging. There's all different kinds of ways to do it. And it works pretty well for a lot of people, so you can check out that as well. And don't forget to subscribe to this video blog, because you'll be the first to know whenever I launch a new video. So there you go, thumb picking, flat pick style. And I'm Hal Weeks. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next week.